Well, y'all, went out today to look out the backyard where the bus used to be. It's not there. It hasn't gone far though, don't worry. They moved the bus over here. Well, it was a little bit closer to my container. And I work out a lot out of that container. And it's actually a little bit closer to my 50 amp circuit that I have off of that telephone pole also. But today what I wanted to do this afternoon was, again, still working on the breaker panel. Excuse my wobbling around here as I walk, but I do walk with a limp, so what the heck. Anyway, moved it over here, and it's actually in a lot better spot. It stays a lot more level here than it did before. But I'll be right back. So I'm going to show you where I'm going to mount this relay board. Okay, here we go again. Came back here, and I have opened up the tackle end of the old bus, the old 4108 Alpha. That's of course, the Buffalo. And back here to the meat and potatoes end of this bus. Again, this is back to the 8V71 that's in there. The Allison 730 transmission that's over there. And look at all that spaghetti up there. This is what I'm trying to get rid of. Trying to get rid of all of this mess right here. And these are all 24 volt relays. And these here that I have here are all 12 volt relays that came with the box. So I'll be taking those relays out, and I will be using those brand new 24 volt relays back in there when I'm ready to go. But what I'm trying to do is see if this here, this relay board, is going to fit back up here into this hole. I'm sorry it's a little bit dark, but I think you'll get the gist of it anyway. Let me turn this off and I'll put it back up in there. Put it back up in there, mount it back up a little bit. Well, just set it up in there anyway, and let you see what it looks like. Okay, here we go again. Now this is a fairly good representation of where it's going to mount. Let me get down here at this headlight and get up here where you can see maybe a little bit better. It's actually going to mount up a little higher against this right here. See a little ridge up there? So it's going to mount up like that. And then it'll be perfect. It'll fit right in there. The door will close perfectly, and I'll be able to get in there and insert the relays, because right now you can't get it in there with the relays attached, which is okay. That just means I got a little snag fit. But here's some of the wiring that was in there. And again, look at that spaghetti mess. Look at that spaghetti mess. Again, I can be taking out every one of these 24 volt relays, putting them in the panel. And this is actually the wiring that went to the taillights from the relays. And somebody had cut them out a long time ago. But again, this will not go to the taillights and whatnot again. I'll be reusing some new wire. And this up here, again, as you can see, I have right turn signal, taillights, all kinds of different nomenclatures on here. This is a marker lights, just everything that I have up here, and all that's going to be rewired also. But I have one in there, researched it out pretty good. Then all this wiring going down here goes back to the toad, which is in the back. And again, that will be 24 volt also, but it's just going to be a couple of lights on the back end of the bug when we get it in there. So all of this is coming out. That was a ground. You see there was a ground there. I think there was another ground here. Excuse me, that's the hot lead there coming from the battery. It's disconnected back in there though, so not to worry. And there was another ground up in there somewhere. I think there was a black one that was a ground. Yeah, right there. There was a black one. No, that was one that went up top. Anyway, there's another one in this spaghetti mess that is a ground. Oh, here it is. Found it. Here's the second one that went over to the second ground here. And again, they're all going to be grounded eventually back to this right here. It's been cleaned off on the inside and outside, and it's going to be a perfect ground. So all of those grounds, the main ground, the 10 gauge wire will go from here down to the relay panel, and it will go into this main input, output, whatever you want to call it, ground post that will feed the entire relay panel. And then from the relay panel, these will be coming out. Well, this will come out. It's going to come out and be thrown away. But this is what they had originally stuck up in there for feeding the lights and whatnot. I'd like to find another wire strip like this. I love this little, I guess they call it a ribbon cord, but I'd like it in at least 12 gauge. This looks like it's probably, yeah, it looks like it's about a 16 gauge wire right there. So I'd like to just drop it down to a 12, even a 14 would be okay, but just, you know, for redundancy and for safety factors. It looks like most of the factory wiring is actually, well, it looks like it's 14 gauge. That's not factory wiring, but this is right here. It looks like that's probably, man, nah, that's 12. That's a 14, excuse me. That's a 14 gauge wire there. So I'll drop it down to a 14 gauge and then feed all these tail lights and whatnot and get them installed correctly. And then we'll have lights back here on the back of this 4108 Alpha. Also, we'll have all of the marker lights. These are what they call the Michigan lights. I think they call the Michigan lights, I know they call them Michigan on the front. I think they call them on the back also. But again, each step is another huge step forward in getting this thing ready to travel down the road. And I really hope you all enjoy this, because this is our bus adventure. That's the Brian's Bus Adventure. And if you notice up here, we have lots of tape on it still, and lots of plastic on the top, because each of these seams, or the majority of them, all leaked. And if you look up in there, you can see about an inch of putty crap up in here, and all that's where they put the cap on back in 1999. Not the best job in the world, but I'm going to take all of that caulking out, all of that, whatever that is, and reseal all of them, and then go ahead and repaint this puppy like we talked about. But anyway, this is what we're doing today on the 4108 Alpha, the Buffalo bus, and getting it ready to rumble down the road. And we're working on the relay panels again today. And again, this is the Brian's Bus Adventure. Hope you enjoy this. And if you do, remember to like, share, and subscribe it. And if you'd like to, don't forget, we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Brian's Bus Adventure. $2, $3, $5, $10 a month. That would really help us get this old bus back on the road again. And it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. But again, this is the Brian's Bus Adventure. Thank you for watching.